Hello everyone, welcome to this demonstration of something totally cool that I discovered just yesterday. Something actually I was working on for the past couple of years, ever since I was able to get some media turntables, which are turntables that have a MIDI output, as well as a mixer that has a MIDI output. This is something for all you DJs out there, especially now that we're in the digital age of DJing. So they have these MIDI turntables made by Denon, and they have a mixer made by Rain, the Rain 64. So the Denon SC 3900 and the Rain 64. Both of those I think are discontinued. At least I know the Denon turntable is discontinued. Now they have a Denon 5000, SC 5000, which is the same thing, but it doesn't have a motorized platter, which, in my opinion, is a downgrade. Every DJ knows they have to have a motorized platter in order to really play the music the way that it should be played. Controllers, yeah, everybody can say, yeah, I can throw the controller in my backpack, it's easy to carry, but the lack of a motorized platter really is a downgrade when it comes to DJs, especially those who are used to the traditional techniques like I am. Well, anyway, that's an aside. What I wanted to show you was something called scratch templating. Basically, you can create a scratch and using obviously the famous sample from Change Le Beat by Fab Five Freddy. The vocoder sound that they used. You can do that with a turntable, but you can also, in Houdini, you can do it with a waveform like this, and as the wave goes up and down, it goes back and forth because it's applied to something called a warp. So the warp it's like a time warp. You can use warp for animation of animation channels, but you can also apply it to audio, which is really, really cool. And that's where Houdini is so special, because it can do so many things with so many different types of data sources. And this is one of those cool things. So I have here a mathematical wave, and actually this is one that's merged. So the scratch is going a normal speed, and then it speeds up, and then it goes back to the normal speed, right? So as it rises, the record is going forward. As it descends, the record moves backwards and then goes back up. So here you have a faster rate of an ascension and descension, and that produces a certain type of sound. Let me see if I can. Let me see. I might not have audio. No, I do have system audio. So let me see if I can get that to play. And I'll show you what the audio looks like. So first, the audio looks like this. That's the Change Le Beat sample at the end of the record. So it looks like that. It has that beep beep, and then it goes, ah. This stuff is really fresh. Sorry, my voice, I can't mimic the sound. But when you warp it, it goes back and forth through the audio, and does this type of sound. So let me see. And what you see up here, the geometry is playing, but because I'm screen recording, there's a lag which is unavoidable, and you don't get really a good feedback to see what the record looks like when it's synced. Let me see if I can change it. Let me see if I can do something here. Play every frame. Okay, so maintain real-time playback, possibly skipping frames. I'm gonna try that, and let's see if that works. A little bit better, but then it's jerky. Well, anyway, that's a mathematical wave, and that's a mathematical scratch that you're doing, all programmed in Houdini from the waveform going through a warp. So that's pretty cool that you can do that. If you want to look at the waveform that I made from the turntable, you can see where I have a backward and forward scratch, and then I scratch faster and slow it down, and faster and slow it down, and interchange between fast and slow here. So I'll show you what that sounds like. Just using a switch chop here to switch between these two node networks here. And as you can see, the audio is a little bit different, and it's longer too because my scratch was longer. I shifted it and trimmed it so that the audio looks, it falls into this platter motion scope here. So this is what it sounds like. Okay, so that's what it sounds like templated. In other words, I could substitute this same thing into, let me do this. I could substitute this same pattern into a different sound. So let's see what this sounds like. And you see the template is not perfect because there was a little bit of audio shift. First you had the beep here, and then it went into the R vocoder sound. It's supposed to all stay at the same pace, so or same position. So if you were to, you know, do it with the mathematical wave here, then this is what it would sound like. And it's actually even skipping over this section here because there's a gap in this file, in this thing here. There's an audio gap, so like this gap is what's getting scratched, and you can't hear anything. If I were to maybe stretch this, let's see what would happen if I stretch it. Stretch. So let's do one. Let's see, one. Let me see. So I'm stretching it really far and see if this produces any change. Well, not much. I'm not sure why. You have to play around a little bit with this stuff. So maybe if I shift it, let's see if that works. And I'm thinking this stuff out as I talk to you because I'm discovering some other stuff here. Yeah, okay, so when I shifted it a little bit, just minus 0.11 increments, and I don't know what those increments are. I wish I knew. You Houdini users, you experts know. So listen to this. Did you hear that little bass sound? That very shallow bass sound, very deep bass sound. It scratched the beep really quickly, but because it's such a low octave, let me see if I can stretch it some more or shift it some more. Yeah, no matter what I shift it into, when you just try to scratch that beep, because I stretched it, the pitch got downshifted because that's what happens with the stretch. So it doesn't maintain the same pitch. So it's a true stretch. It's like a lifelike stretch and time stretch, and because of that, when you get to this section in the middle here, it's really shallow, like really low, because the scratch is happening so fast and it's not scratching the entire frequency or whatever. It's hard for me to explain, but in any case, what the original sound was like, let me see, where is it? Here, this is my recording from Serato. So I will play that for you and you can compare. You see, that's the true scratch coming out of Serato. So if you compare that to this, and let me switch this back. You see, it's close. It's I mean, considering that Houdini tries to interpret a perfect waveform, and the mechanical aspect of a human scratch is so imperfect. You see how much variation there is in this length here. It doesn't all maintain the same amplitude throughout. So because of the irregularities, that's when you have a drift of the audio, and that's why it doesn't all stay in position the way that the mathematical waveform would. Obviously, you know, in post-editing, what you could do is you could take this natural curve and just adjust, you know, maybe make a curve which replicates the amplitude and phase. And what are the things here? Amplitude, phase, and period. The period of the waveform. Make sure they're all regularly spaced and regularly space in the X and Y direction, and then when you scratch faster, maintain that same spacing and just make it more regular. Remove the irregularities from this, and then you would have a much cleaner template. But as you can see, what I did was I was able to switch the audio. So let me disable the stretch and the shift. So you see, here's where the drift happens because of the irregularity of this wave. It's so irregular, you see. So yeah, I mean, it's a really cool discovery. It has so many far-reaching implications in terms of the world of DJing, because you can take this whole concept of recording one scratch session and taking the data from the platter that's coming out, because this is platter data. This is the rotation of the platter in MIDI. You can take that recording and then just substitute any sound you want to, something that hasn't even been recorded yet. Maybe, the new president in 2 years from now is going to say something profound at the national convention of his party, his or her party, and before they get elected. And then when they do get elected, you can use that soundbite and scratch it. And you can scratch it based on a template that you did today. And this would happen 2 years in the future. So, and I'm speaking, this is 2018. Yeah, so 2020, 2021. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's so profound what this is capable of doing, and you don't have to use Houdini to do it, as long as you have some kind of implementation of being able to record the platter motion. Serato doesn't record platter motion. It records the mix, the audio, but you could use a program like Flash or something. If you know how to code a DVS environment, you could code that DVS environment to include recording the platter motion, especially if you're using a touchscreen turntable. Like there's DJ Pro. DJ Pro is something for the iPad and also for Windows, Surface, and touchscreen tablets. So it's a turntable on a touchscreen, and whatever you touch with your hand on that virtual turntable is able to you can record that. You could code that so that you can record the data of the rotation. And not to mention, I didn't even include the crossfader aspect of this whole thing. So you can have the crossfader be also templated, so that you can substitute anybody else's, like, whatever sound you want. If you get DJ Qbert to record a scratch session on your Surface Pro where you coded your own DVS environment, either in Flash or whatever you're doing, where you can record the data and then just substitute the sound, then you could, it's just, I don't know, man, it's just so amazing. And I keep rambling on and on about this, but I hope I've inspired somebody to be able to take this a step further. And of course, I'm trying my best to perfect this templating every day. I just now got to this point where I was able to take a simple scratch motion. Complex scratch motions might be harder to template, but that's not to say it's impossible. It's certainly possible if I was able to get this much. So yeah, that's it for a 20-minute discussion on scratch templating, scratch template, and I hope this goes way further and way beyond my wildest dreams and your wildest dreams. Okay, take care, and I hope to see you in the next session. Peace.